Wednesday night in Beijing, the Chinese capital. In a downtown restaurant, a particular show is starting. A young woman is going to dine alone. Well, not really. She's filmed by a team of professionals, and millions of people will watch her while she eats. Her name is Minnie. She is 25 years old. Her work as a professional eater has made her a celebrity in the country. This practice, imported from South Korea, is called mukbang. The literal translation, eating broadcast. The principle is simple. In order to attract the largest possible audience on the internet, she must eat astronomical amounts of food in front of the camera.
Hello， 大家好，我是咪咪。今天我的晚餐是我面前的8份牛肉饭，是不是挺大的？我今天一共点了5种口味，就是他们家菜单上所有的牛肉饭，我基本上都点了。哦，破不开可以戳碎，没有味道，加酱。
During a 1-hour broadcast, Minnie eats 8 beef rice bowls, 5 eggs, 3 ice creams, and drinks about 2 liters of papaya juice.
我是饭前一个体重，饭后一个体重。饭前是92、94这样子，饭后我最多的一次饭后到110了。
It's a recipe for success. She has fans all over the country. 4 million Chinese people watch her live, 10 million in a replay. Minnie earns €7,000 a month. Her fans are often single young adults, lonely and missing companionship. This young woman regularly eats her meals alone with her online friend.
所以说可能晚上回去的话，忙完工作也都比较晚了，所以就打开手机，然后看看他们吃饭啊，而且他们平常说话也很风趣，而且看着他们吃饭的时候就是感觉很满足的样子，自己也会觉得开心一点。
Mukbang seems to be a popular cure for loneliness. However, it's also creating problems with obesity across the country, especially among young people. They're the primary consumers of these types of videos. Moreover, it has become a trend on social networks, teens who gorge themselves on fast food in front of their webcam, like Minnie. In the heart of Beijing, this production company specializes in mukbang videos. Here, 17 people work full-time on Minnie's broadcast. And it's this woman, Wang Dan, who started it all.
因为这个一开始做的时候，就是因为喜欢吃，我个人就是超喜欢吃，然后又觉得，因为日本和韩国就是大王吃播比中国比较早，然后一开始就是看这个日本和韩国的这个节目，然后就觉得看的，就是我觉得中国美食博大精深。然后有这么多种样子，肯定如果在中国做的话，会比韩国、日本的这个更精彩、更好看。然后我一年
A live food orgy for young people. Although Minnie is surprisingly slim, her diet would make anyone fat. On this matter, the producer refutes the problem.
然后有很多人他可能是因为是减肥，或者是因为这个胃病啊什么的不能吃，然后他通过来看我们的这个大胃王的吃播，然后来缓解自己的这个不能吃的这个痛苦的情绪。
According to her, mukbang broadcasts are good for public health. It's hard to believe this in a country where the fight against obesity has become a national issue. The Chinese are eating more and more and getting fatter and fatter. The most populous country in the world, 1,400,000,000 people struck by famine in the past, is now becoming obese. 100 million of them are overweight. The elderly practice Tai Chi and follow a traditional diet. The new generation has opted for junk food and a sedentary lifestyle.
就是自己比较能吃，然后也没有节制，比较爱吃那些垃圾食品啊、油炸的那些都比较喜欢。
Young people are the most affected. 20% of boys and 10% of girls are now obese. The one-child policy has led millions of families to engorge their only offspring.
胖很胖，真的。说那些老头老太太，就说好听，老爷爷老奶奶们。
It's a public health problem. Obesity has brought with it diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. The number one cause? The boom of fast food, sending calorie counts through the roof. So, the country has declared war against obesity. Everywhere, fitness camps for obese youth are blooming. It's a forced diet. Losing weight has become trendy. The new stars of reality TV are former overweight people who have lost weight. To cope with this phenomenon, the Chinese are turning to traditional medicine or to much more radical surgical techniques. Others have turned the problem into a business. One of the most downloaded smartphone apps in the country is a weight loss program.
然后呢叫薄荷健康学院全网分发的，我们现在呢每个月呢都有差不多6-7千万人次来上课。
Some, on the other hand, are fighting for overweight people to be more accepted.
我跟你说，这姑娘之前200多斤，然后你知道她走在路上被人家吐口水过。
From Beijing to Guangzhou, from Shanghai to the Yunnan border, we look deeply into a country that's doing everything to trim down. A traditional restaurant in the heart of Shenzhen, in southeast China. Du Shuai, 15 years old, has been obese since he was 6. His father enrolled him in a fitness camp for the obese youth. He takes him to the restaurant one last time before the grueling weeks ahead.
算吧，一天不吃饭的话呀，人都，我感觉吧，就是人活着就得吃，要是不让我吃的话，我还活着干啥呀？我这么想。
Du Shuai has a fierce appetite. His father seems more concerned with the happiness of his son than with his health.
那杜爸爸到时候担不担心他在营地里头这40多天他吃不好？
那肯定担心了，他吃不好，他吃不好，但是我们只能让他坚持。他也高兴，他也高兴。有时遇到一个鸡腿，他高兴。平时就是蔬菜。
His last moment of indulging for a long time. The next morning, Du Shuai and his father make their way to the camp. The teenager knows exactly what lies ahead. This is the second time he has sacrificed his holidays for his diet.
然后呢，就是一直减了40天，减了40斤，30减了39斤，现在，完之后到后边过年，当时过年，就是到家保持非常好。过了年之后呢，就是。 但是苦肯定是有的，肯定累，每天，但是没有办法，这次必须把它减下去。
我重，我现在200，我就怕今后我儿子也走我这个路，所以说我都送他这里来，花多少钱我都送他这里来。我儿子从去年到现在已经将近花了不到10万块钱了，都减回。
His father paid 5,000 euros to help his son lose weight. A hefty sum, even for this successful restaurateur.
在这边。哎呀！我又来了，你又来了！哎呀，这次又过来参加多少天？这次来45天吧。45天。跟爸爸一块来的。哎呀。你好。
Du Shuai is immediately taken in by his trainers. And it all starts with a health check. Before setting his goals, the trainers must first determine his body fat percentage using this machine, a state-of-the-art scale.
双手握住轻手的部分降身体，双臂稍微抬起来一点点 ，OK， 保持别动。他现在今年是15岁，身高1.72米，体重的话现在已经是达到了93.6公斤。正常来讲，他的体重应该是在64.5公斤左右。从体重上来讲，我们有超了29公斤。29公斤的体重里面有13.8公斤是纯脂肪。 因为不是说所有的运动都适合于减肥，减肥分为有氧运动、无氧运动。因为有氧是快速燃脂的，减去它所有体内的纯脂肪。OK， 所以要好好加油。这是个。
But the smiles will not last very long.
往前看，往我这边看，站好。
The trainers here are former soldiers.
训练要有训练成效，往那一站，啊，颈子拔出来。 挺胸，抬头，把你的精气神。下坐蹲，进步蹲，要好蹲，要好蹲。
Uniforms, marching. Upon their arrival, these teens ranging from 12 to 16 years old are put to work. 2 kilometers away at the stadium, they'll hear the rules they will have to follow for the next 2 months.
我们来训练场地，不是看到啊，希望每个人记住，这种东西，营规是什么？是高压线一碰，见到教官，打招呼问好，一员之间团结友爱，互帮互助，禁止打架斗殴。就像我们今天军训一样，你只要按照我的要求来，你是绝对接受不了任何惩罚的，是在减重。 明白吗？明白没？明白。
Common sense and good behavior, something these young teens apparently lack.
都忙于工作，忙于工作的话就没有多少时间去管他们，或者说放在爷爷奶奶这边。那爷爷奶奶的话，在咱们中国的概念里面，爷爷奶奶这一辈对孙辈是非常是爱，这种爱是非常之深的，可以说是溺爱。所以说。 管也管不了，那父母又不在身边，爷爷奶奶管，或者父母在身边，但是没有时间去管，所以导致他们一些作息啊、饮食上面。
It's the first day, and soon one of the students is taken aside. He was caught laughing during the instructions. Punishment is immediate.
调整好裙子，还有1分钟，身体前倾。初三，在这些里面，这些孩子里面，你应该是比较大的。 做好带头作用，好的带头，而不是主动在那儿挑事情，明白吗？明白。主动在那儿瞎起哄，想表现自己没有任何问题，用你的成绩去表现，这样别人才能看得上你，看得起你，你眼上才有光。用这种表现形式，只会让别人越来越讨厌你，明白吗？明白。 好的，拿好东西。回队伍去。
The tone is set. This is just beginning. The next day, the students will find out the schedule they will have to follow during their stay here. Wake up at 6 in the morning. Make the bed like in the army. 3 hours of sports before lunch. Another 3 hours in the afternoon. And to crown it all, more discipline exercises. The teens are constantly doing something. They have no breaks. Each misstep is sanctioned by additional physical exercise.
没有人给你洗下哈的啊！下去啊
！5、6、7、8，岗位，3、2、1，go！ 我不要看到水花。从现在开始，我 看到谁的水花打起来，加时间10秒钟，在水底下，把你的手给我伸直，还打水花，1分10秒了。
After a week, many are losing lots of weight, but it's not easy to keep up. We find Du Shuai in his room while the students are doing their critical assessment. This is part of the compulsory exercises. Students have to write down not only their successes, but their failures as well.
远方也许尽是坎坷路，也要孤孤单单走一程。明白自己想要的，只有经历过地狱般的折磨，才有征服天堂的能力。
Some extra motivation according to the trainers, who will read out the text again the next day. Only 1 week has passed. Du Shuai suffers his first depressive episode.
跟这些都是代沟也大，也没有什么意思。但是他们这种军事化管理吧，我感觉对我来说不应该，就是我不能再受这种管理了。
The most anticipated moment of the day finally comes. It's 8 p.m. Teens are allowed a short moment on their cell phone. They get only 1 hour a day, but under certain conditions.
继续训练下去的。所以说，不要抱着手机就在那看视频，刷什么抖音，看什么小说之类的。首先第一件事情，听到没有？
At 12 years old, little Jiahao is one of the youngest in the group. Like most of the participants, he is an only child and waits all day for the moment when he can call his mother.
想我妈呀，然后就开始我跟我妈的长篇大论。您好，请不要闹机。为什么打不通？我给他打微信电话是。妈妈。不是他手机就这样，因为他是干保险的。你说他弄免打扰的话，客户给他打电话，要问保险单怎么办？就是对，一般就是忙了，或者手机又出问题。我妈打电话呢。我妈挂了，估计她这会儿正在谈单子或者，我妈应该是有事情，到时候晚点再给她打吧。
一会儿晚点手机就交上去，要是晚上跟妈妈说不上话，会不会影响心情？
会稍微有一点，不过没事嘛，一天不说话死不了人的。做梦的时候跟她托梦，你知道吧？我是我妈的骨肉，所以呢，我俩心灵是相通的。晚上我俩一睡觉，我见着老妈可以说话。你看昨晚我找我爸，对吧？今晚我找我妈，明晚我找我舅，还全家人，不用花费的，老省钱了。
Missing his parents is perhaps one of the reasons for Jiahao's weight gain. However, at the camp, the coaches aren't able to work on the root of the issue, just the problem itself. The only goal is to lose weight as quickly as possible. He has a month left. And yet China, not so long ago, looked more like this. Before industrialization and the rural exodus, low-calorie and low-fat food were more widespread. We are in Yunnan province, a rural area in the southwest, with landscapes and a type of agriculture that have almost disappeared in China.
也是啊，基本就是这边最好的了，还有比这个好的也有啊。这个它吃的健康，这个没有使农药化肥的，这个不用除草剂的，而且这个还是老品种的，越吃越苗条，又健康，越健康。
Here, there's a different vision on gastronomy, a return to the source. Some farmers and restaurateurs are trying to preserve Chinese culinary traditions. It starts with the local farmers.
这个就是我们的菜喝的水啊，就是用这个水来浇灌的。这个就是源头水，没有污染的。
Organic vegetables, a rarity in China. They're then shipped directly to the city's upscale restaurants. The best chefs are snatching them up. Here it is, the real Chinese cuisine. This chef is a purist. For her, the Chinese have forgotten the meaning behind what they eat. She knows the benefits of each of her recipes.
现在中国人吃饭呢，就是好好养生。现在这个呢，从养生角度来说呢，这个黑木耳有那就是软化血管啊这些的功效。黄瓜吃了，它是水分多嘛，现在你同胞吃了呢，它减肥美容，吃生吃更好。像我们炒着吃呢，它清淡。
Far from fatty and fried foods, the chef advocates a return to the old-fashioned diet.
我们现在中国人吃的这些都是，既要健康又要养生。现在呢，就我们每天1日3餐都是这样做到。另外那里面的是。
But this is not the norm across China. For almost 30 years, the city landscape has changed. Fast food restaurants have moved in everywhere, and supermarkets are selling many products high in saturated fats and sugars. The main problem, however, is the boundless supply of meat. A once special ingredient has now become ordinary, the typical eating plate revamped. We have an appointment in Beijing with Mrs. Yang. She is in charge of the national program aiming to improve the Chinese diet. For her, habits have radically changed due to the country's growth in wealth.
我也特别记得我那个小时候，那是当然就是我60年代那个样子，那个7、8岁的时候，家里头过一次年，那真是头一次见到肉那种感觉的。可是现在就不一样了，现在的话，我们的桌子上可能大部分来说，大家是以菜类、肉类为主的这么一个膳食了。
All education needs to be reviewed according to Mrs. Yang, but perhaps also the food standards. Followed by a nutritionist, we visited Deco's, the most popular Chinese fast food chain. We film with a hidden camera. In China, unlike in France, there is virtually no limit imposed on sugar, fat, salt, or food coloring.
Sorry. 像都是这种，在我们老家也有，就我老家算是中国的18线城市了吧，就是也会有。
For the nutritionist, there's no doubt. Fast food restaurants like this one make China fatter. Their hamburgers are even more calorie dense than their American counterparts.
我觉得今天对我来讲最震惊的是一个儿童套餐，他给的这个。这是什么？一个儿童套餐。就是一个儿童套餐，就是这样的一杯可乐，然后还有一个很大的一个炸鸡腿，炸鸡块，还有一点玉米，所以就是在我看来，这就是一个油和糖的结合体。反正我是不会带我小朋友过来吃。我感觉这个绿色很没有食欲，可以吃到东西，没有那么多，还有这个手，慢慢吃。这个的看一下，哦。 应该有的，就是我揍他，可能就他，可以有。不可能，真的。就是你经常吃这种东西，不可能。刚才问他们，我知道。
From burger buns loaded with color additives to fried chicken full of sauce, it's a nutritionist's nightmare. But instead of tackling the causes of obesity, China is fighting instead against those who have already grown fat. It is an obsession throughout the country. In some cases, losing weight can even make you rich and famous. Television has capitalized on the subject. On the air, countless reality TV shows revolve around the same principle. The winner is the one who loses the most kilos. The Biggest Loser is the most famous show. The first season, 3 years ago, had a young man weighing 147 kilos. 3 years later, we meet up with him at his apartment in Beijing. He is unrecognizable.
我们的教练的宗旨就是刘畊宏教练就是让我们不会让我们每一天过得好受，你知道吗？每一天要突破我们的极限。
Zhu Jiazhe, 25 years old, lost 50 kilos in 100 days. It's a diet that can be dangerous physically and psychologically, but thanks to it, he won the game.
就是这个超级减肥王呢，刚刚播出的时候，我是不敢去看的，因为我每次看的时候特别想哭，想哭的点我也不知道，是因为心疼自己呢，还是那段回忆我比较珍惜，我也不知道。
This is a case study. Like many Chinese, Zhu Jiazhe started gaining weight since his childhood. After his parents' divorce, he was raised by his grandfather who gave him everything. The child became obese at the age of 6.
麦当劳，我们秦皇岛第一家的麦当劳的时候，那就特别爱吃这些食物，然后每天一日3餐。那个时候爷爷是在工作嘛，然后他能每天让他的司机去早上去给我排队，他真的要排到就排到马路上，因为那是第一家，大家都没去吃过。
Zhu Jiazhe's life changed after he won The Biggest Loser. He not only slimmed down, but he also became famous. On TV, he's seen as a role model for weight loss.
可想而知啊，当时嘉泽2年前作为一个体重将近300斤的大胖子，应该行动起来很不方便吧？
接近300斤的人，其实不止自身的行动很方便，其实他走在大街上已经成为大家议论的一个对象。
He was hired by the production company of the show. To keep him fit, his bosses pay for a personal coach who makes him sweat up to 4 hours a day.
比如说篮球，我也平常也爱游泳，就是现在的生活状态让我爱上了所有运动，所以说我的篮球教练是我每天不可缺的。
Magazine covers, appearances, advertisements for clothing brands. His face is everywhere. Several times a month, he shares his experience as a former obese person. He always tells the same story, the redemption of an overweight man after losing weight. This is what inspires his audience.
我这么多吗？
是的，14页。
这是我一会儿要录的节目的台本，是一个美丽新风尚一个节目，是我们河北卫视的一个，它其实是讲美妆的，不过这一期主题是要讲减肥，给大家讲减肥的一些小知识。
Zhu Jiazhe has become a role model for millions of Chinese people. Even those who don't have a weight problem want to model themselves after him.
我已经开始减肥了。
你这是第10次开始减肥了，也是越来越瘦了，衣服越来越瘦了。看计划说，我没有损你，我只一直在激励你。我发现了你这个人，
我这次真的可以减肥成功。
其实现在的我才感觉，在我生活在这个世界当中，以前我不会出门的。我胖的时候拒绝社交，拒绝认识新朋友，然后特别没有。
Ever since he got the physique of a model, Zhu Jiazhe is constantly in demand. He finally has friends. Several times a week, he will meet them on the university campus. To play his favorite sport, under the gaze of his admirers, his fan club. A year ago, these young women were obese too.
就那个黑衣服的叫祖家泽，就是他。 我这次其实从去年12月份开始就是减得比较快的时候，是因为，当时他也是录一个节目，然后当时他就看着我的眼睛，可认真的跟我说，就说，你一定要瘦。
开始减肥减了1年吧，然后其实中间也有坚持不下去的时候，但是翻他的微博，然后跟他说也就下来了。
The two young women claim to have lost more than 20 kilos in a few months. They only have eyes for their idol.
就是放你一下，没事，我不嫌弃，一点都不嫌弃。我感觉你好热呀，你觉得我想瘦多少斤？
你瘦多少斤啊？
我瘦了57斤。
厉害！这个你是真的，有没有遇到什么困难？
没有啊。
那你找男朋友了吗？
不找。啊？不找。
为啥呀？瘦了你不赶紧？
他在等你。
The new Chinese role model, a young man who has lost weight. However, the dangers of this brutal diet are going unmentioned, as is the root of the obesity issue, the fast pace of the city life in China. In the streets of Beijing, the capital, we come across more and more people suffering from obesity. Young, often single, with stressful jobs. Zhong Qiu is 28 years old. She weighs 147 kilos and has been obese since her early years. But recently, her condition has gone out of control.
上楼啊，太费劲了，太费劲了，上楼。
走路什么的还行吗？
走路没有问题，就是太热了会出汗嘛。
To get to her home, she must go up 5 flights of stairs. It's a nightmare. Zhong Qiu works at night. During the day, she almost never leaves her apartment. The young woman spends most of her time playing video games on her smartphone.
然后就是比较能吃，吃的量比较大，可能是因为小时候可能生病打过激素，然后后来就是自己比较能吃，然后也没有节制，比较爱吃那些垃圾食品啊，油炸的那些都比较喜欢。
In addition to eating a lot, Zhong Qiu does not practice any sport, but she's decided to take matters into her own hands. She goes to a clinic specializing in obesity treatment, a clinic that practices traditional medicine. More and more overweight Chinese people are turning to these methods.
压力比较大，
对，
夜班也多，
夜班也多，爱吃东西。
然后呢，还有工作压力大，工作压力大，他就以饮食，这个多吃东西来排解压力。其实这也是个宣泄的渠道，往往是这样。其实这是一种病态。那舌头，舌头紫暗，黄厚腻。
The diagnosis is final. The young woman suffers from morbid obesity. She risks diabetes and even liver cancer. She is at risk of dying, and to deal with this, the doctor offers a remedy that seems rather mild.
我建议，首先咱们做针灸，拔罐，脂肪牵拉。
The method may be surprising. In China, it has been practiced for 5,000 years.
我是有感觉的。
For acupuncture to be effective, the needles must reach specific points under the skin. In the case of obese patients, they must first go through a thick layer of fat. These needles are 15 centimeters long.
今天因为夹了手上了，夹了臂上的，夹肚子给你加强了。 要控制食欲的，因为肥胖的人他很多都是因为食欲比较旺盛，所以我在针灸的时候用手法，然后让他控制一下，让他有饱腹感，增加饱腹感以后就吃的就会少，然后就是降低一下食欲。这个在胃的这个周围会取血。
After the needles, cupping. It's another traditional Chinese technique commonly used as a treatment for obesity.
事儿，爸爸。
没事。
这都是我们。
这个火大以后瞬间就。
你小点。
怎么了，钟秋？
没事。
疼吗？揪着有点，刚开始的时候他揪着有点那种揪着疼，但是2、3分钟之后就很舒服了，就没有那种疼痛感。
This grandmother's remedy is also supposed to regulate the flow of energy in the body and promote blood circulation. 7 minutes later, the suction cups are removed one by one. According to doctors, regular sessions will eventually allow her to lose weight. Although many Chinese believe in the effectiveness of these methods, more and more people are turning to more modern and radical techniques. In Guangzhou, there's a hospital that specializes in treating obesity, but without needles or suction cups. The results are incredible. They are displayed in the lobby. With his shy demeanor, this 46-year-old surgeon is a star in his field. Courted by millions of patients, he is the new hope of the obese Chinese. At least for those who have the means. His operation costs 10,000 euros.
你站起来看一下，站起来我看一下。我还是起码体重可能有
7公斤。
还是有重度肥胖，我看起来。这腹部硬不硬？腹部还好。他这个是很多胖友在外面自己通过一个运动啊、饮食啊，还有一些针灸啊等等一些减肥方法，比较失败了，或者减下来之后又反弹了。 这种可能性很大。一般说，我们平时通过我们一个手术减肥，基本上90%、95%都能够达到一个自己满意的一个减重体重，这么一个概念。
His secret, a technique he himself calls the last resort operation.
这是一个手术室，我们准备一个术前的准备。 这是一些无菌的物品，手术物品，这是手术床，这是我给你单。今天做的手术就是这个一个画面，就是一个缩胃扩横术。缩胃扩横术就是一个胃袖状切除术，就把胃原来大弯切切掉一部分，把胃切掉以后，限制一个食物的摄入量，达到一个减少吸收的一个目的。这样吃的少了，这样吸收少了，达到一个减重的目的。
In recent years, the number of applications has exploded. The doctor operates an average of 3 patients per day. Today, the patient is a 120-kilo student who wants to lose 60. It's a serious operation, but it will hardly leave any scar on the patient's body. Everything goes through the navel.
把这个腹膜啊和那个肠胃啊分开，形成一个间隙，让我们好操作。一般压力在15左右，15毫米汞柱。
A technique practiced all over the world, but for it to be effective, the surgeon recommends a change of diet after the operation. But it's often not the case here. Patients are at risk of regaining their weight and also serious psychological problems. Back to Shenzhen, under the monsoon rains, at the rehabilitation camp for overweight teenagers. Like every morning, trainees are called in one by one for weighing. When he arrived 8 days ago, Du Shuai weighed 94 kilos.
可以说瘦了4公斤吧。我感觉我的肚子这边全小了，感觉身体好像脸小了，比较不错。
In addition to a lot of sports, the trainees need to learn how to eat healthy.
我其实大部分人体重超标，如果你不是遗传性肥胖或者病理性肥胖。
This is one of the objectives of the camp. The meals are carefully planned. What was previously the best time of day for them is now an ordeal.
吃饭，这些菜，说实话吃不下去有点。
For Du Shuai, the food served in the canteen doesn't make the cut.
好吃。这个是西红柿鸡蛋，这个是那个什么鸡，这个是辣椒炒什么我也不知道，尝尝吧。 昨天我还在吃大鱼大肉，今天吃上这个了，转变太大了。
我觉得菜吃不饱而已。
Not enough food, depression, and still 6 hours of sports a day. The camp enters its second phase. The activities are more intense. Only 3 weeks left to shed the kilos. The trainers push the teens to the end. The goal is to tap into their fat reserves. Du Shuai resists, somehow. He still has 3 weeks left to suffer. Du Shuai is not sure if he can hold on. If he wants to achieve his goal, he will have to lose nearly a kilo a day until the end of the camp. Obesity is not a problem exclusive to young people in China. The government has launched a plan to reduce the average weight of the population by 2030. State-of-the-art gyms have sprung up everywhere. At least 40,000 in the country, and there's gyms opening every day. A business that can generate billions. Suzanne is 36 years old. She's entrusted her fitness to her smartphone. It follows her everywhere, even at breakfast. It's her fitness coach.
The orange bars are how much you eat, and the green bars are how much you exercise. And this is the assigned quota of the 1,374 calories I should be eating daily. But if we put the green on top of it, meaning that I could eat a little bit more.
Like 70 million Chinese, Suzanne uses Boa, one of the biggest internet successes in the country. It's an application to lose weight. This morning, she's allowed to eat peanut butter. It works well. Boa has planned everything. She has to do an hour of yoga with her virtual coach.
You're better now? Happy. You should have another peanut butter.
To meet the creator of this application, we need to travel to Shanghai. To stick to the image of his business, Mr. Ma arrives in track pants and sneakers to the office. He owes his immense fortune to his former girlfriend.
因为当时候呢，我的女朋友狂热的减肥，我是呢学这种工科出身的，我都觉得这个事情呢非常难以理解，我就去这个，然后的话呢就觉得，哎呀，要不我们呢就一起呢做减肥这件事情，然后呢可以用科技的方式来把它做得很好玩，但是呢又非常的有效果，
Since then, Mr. Ma has changed his career path. For the moment, his American-style startup has 80 employees, but he does not intend to stop there.
然后呢，这边呢是我们可能会更加强调的是我们的这种健康的课程啊，然后呢叫薄荷健康学院，全网分发的。我们现在呢每个月呢都有差不多6、7千万人次来上课，然后呢我们预计呢再过1年左右的时间，我们可能每个月会有2亿人次来上我们的健康课程。荷兰也知道，荷兰这次。
The fatter China gets, the more Mr. Ma blooms. The businessman even set up a film studio in his office.
这里是我们的这个棚，对，这是我们的一个小棚。我们呢就会在这里做一些简单的拍摄，还有呢一些简单的视频。怎么样，拍得顺利吗？在调光是吧？ 今天是什么主题啊？
世界杯看球熬夜吃披萨的事儿。
难道
He's hired Miss Yi Wen, the most famous nutritionist in the country. We had already met her at a fast food restaurant. She is a specialist in junk food. The secret of her success: do not blame the client.
给他观点是这样子的，我们认为没有什么食物是不能吃的，还是说你可以自己来去控制量，有一个更好的选择，不能一味的去压抑自己的食欲。我不能吃蛋糕，我不能吃披萨，我不能喝什么东西，然后什么都不能做，就觉得减肥是如此的枯燥和无聊，然后是一个痛苦的过程。我觉得生活就少了很多乐趣。
Boa, perhaps the start of an awareness on health issues. But 1,500 kilometers away, in Guangzhou, a woman has decided to turn the whole issue on its head. Why do we have to slim down at all costs instead of accepting it? A new trend has recently emerged: plus-size models, a phenomenon that has questioned the normalized standard of beauty.
放大了的曲线，它不是说整个人胖，只要他肚子很大，这不是一个大码模特。我们需要的是一些符合标准的大码的曲线。
At 30 years old, Huang Fei has just set up her modeling agency, an agency specializing in models with bigger sizes. The businesswoman is always looking for new faces, for advertisements, fashion shows, or online commerce. Although the profession is very new, she receives 100 applications every month.
我手上目前立马下个星期你们能上班的，立马就有工作了，一个主流，而且这5年你能很快的积攒一笔财富，对吧？你看按现在他们的那种收入的话，大概3到5年他就能买房买车，什么都能买了，之后安心嫁人就完事儿了。
A big challenge for these young women: obese people are often discriminated against and find it harder to find a job compared to others. The agency is helping to change that. The girls get on the scale and get their measurements taken. Even if the models are curvy enough, the criteria are strict, and they're all new to the industry.
你先鞋脱了，站好了。
Is there something special you're looking for?
Yeah, actually, I don't want the booth so big because for the normal model or the plus size also, if the booth too big, you look fat. Yeah, for normal modeling, 86, 168. And you can see she have the really particular Chinese face. I love this face. Yeah, good.
After the measurements, the photo shoot.
头再低一点。OK， 下起来。放松肩膀。哎，对，放松肩膀。抬头挺胸，屁股弯出去。屁股。
Showcasing the beauty of these out-of-the-ordinary girls is more than just a business. Huang Fei is fighting for curvy people to be better accepted in society. Modeling has become a militant act.
然后让他们去见更广阔的世界，然后让他们能够更体面的生活在这里。我跟你说，我们这姑娘，来，慢，待会儿也去拍个照吧，她不胖。我跟你说，这姑娘之前200多斤，然后你知道她走在路上被人家吐口水过。真的就是活生生的被人歧视，你知道吗？中国这边就是这些真的很不好，所以我希望你知道她来我们这儿以后，整个精神状态你都看到，走过去都很自信的一姑娘。我就觉得我希望我们就是每一个人都可以这样。
The agency has just celebrated its 1-year anniversary, and contracts have already been signed in China and abroad.
然后我再摸她的屁股。
Fully confident, this new wave of models are proud about their curves, even if they do not always go unnoticed on the street. It will undoubtedly take time to change the views of 1,400 million Chinese. Zhu Jiazhe, the star of reality TV, continues to ride on his success. He has a new show in the works, always on the same topic: how to look good and slim down when you're overweight. Zhong Qiu has finished her acupuncture sessions without success. She even gained 3 kilos and is discouraged. She's given up on the idea of losing weight. Finally, Du Shuai sent us this video of him at the end of his camp. His coaches filmed him. He looks exhausted, but he has lost 16 kilos. He only hopes to keep the weight off and not gain it back like last year, and run the risk of spending his next holiday at the camp again. According to studies, if the country continues at the same rate, 48 million young Chinese people will be obese by 2025.